What is up, y'all? Willie G here, and right now I want to go through uh, quick presentation on final expense telesales economics. So, not a lot of people dig into the finance side and understanding the business model itself. So, today I'm going to go through that with you, just so you can understand. It's important if you're going to get into this business that you know how it actually works, how you make money, and it's not quite as everyone thinks. So um, not the most exciting topic, but it is maybe the most important topic, understanding the economics of a sale. So let's see here. So the economics, so roughly average annual premium on a final expense policy is about $1,000. So for me, it's 11 to 1200, but for most folks, it's roughly $1,000. Annual premium, that's roughly $80 a month, around there, 80, $85 a month in monthly premium. So if you have 100% commission, I'm just using this for round numbers. 100% commission, you get a nine. These are the inputs to the model, to the unit economics here. 100% commission, 9-month advance. Most carriers on level policies will give you 9-month commission advance on the annual premium. I'm assuming a 7% annual renewal. Some carriers will be higher, some will be lower, meaning that after year one, every payment that comes in after year one, you get 7% of that premium as commission forever, as long as the policy is in force. I'm assuming average policy life, if it hits 1 year, is going to be 6 years. So it's going to have a 5-year additional life. So if a policy makes it to 12 months, on average, that policy is going to make it to 6 years. Some will make it to 10 years, some will make it to 15 years, some will make it to 2 years. Average, I'm saying here, is 6 years. That's from my research, that's a fair assumption. Cost per acquisition, CPA, about 250 bucks. So in order to get a sale, you spend $250 on leads to acquire a customer. Cost per acquisition. Um, and then placement ratio, I'm assuming is 70%. 70% of policies that you submit will get placed in making their first payment. I will assume a 75% persistency. So if you have a policy that places, makes their first payment, roughly 75% of those will convert to paying for 12 months. And then policies that lapse between months, so that make their first payment but don't make it to month 12, on average, you're earning a $400 commission. That's the assumption here. So this is the financial model and the unit economics of this type of policy that we're going to assume here. Final expense, which is pretty standard here. So on the $1,000 annual premium, your advance is 9 months. You're making 750 bucks up front. Months 10, 11, and 12. So 1,000 times 75% is 750. Months 10, 11, and 12, you're making the remainder, so $250 of that year one commission, totaling $1,000, which is your annual premium. So 100% times your annual premium, which is $1,000, is $1,000 in commission. So renewals years 2 through 6, you're going to be making roughly $350 from years 2 through 6. So if you do the quick math here, $750 up front, that's your advance. You're actually going to be making 600 bucks in addition to that after your advance. So lifetime revenue, if the policy sticks, is about 1350. That's the assumption we are going to use here. So applying the reality to 100 applications, out of 100 applications, 70 policies will place, 53 will make it to month 12, 17 will lapse before month 12 after making their first payment. So revenue from early lapse is roughly $6,800. 17 times $400. So that's additional revenue from those policies that don't quite make it. So expected revenue per application. So now we're digging further into the unit economics. Advance on policies, 70 of those policies times 750 advance means 52,500 will be your initial advance on those 100 policies sold. Months 10, 11, and 12, you'll make an additional 13,250. Renewals, you'll make 18,555. And so total revenue on 100 policies submitted is roughly $84,300. So expected revenue per application that you submit is $843. So, and that number is just 84,300 divided by 100 policies that you submitted. So that is sort of a synopsis of 100 policies. I'm going to dig into some additional detail here, but gross versus net per policy, they're not the same, not even close. Expected lifetime revenue per application is $843. Before we mentioned that it was going to be $1,350 right here. But if you account for those that do not make it to month 1 and then do not make it to month 12 after making it to, after placing, that is the expected revenue per app is $843. Or sorry, where were we? Yeah, $843. Your cost per acquisition, like we mentioned. So if you submit a policy, on average, that policy is going to generate is worth $843 to you. If you just look at the aggregate, if obviously if it makes it to month 12, that policy is worth $1,350 on average. But if you just submit a policy, you don't know if it's going to place, you don't know if it's going to make it to month 12, that policy is worth $843 to you as the agent. Your cost per acquisition is $250 for that application. So that means you're selling roughly 1 out of 15 to 20 leads. That's typically what'll shake out to $250 per sale. And so obviously you're making, just do the math, 843 minus 250, 593. Every policy you place or every policy that you submit on average in aggregate, that policy will be worth roughly $600 to you every time you submit a policy. Over 60. One important thing to note that a lot of people don't talk about, because it's not sexy, is that over 60% of the profit arrives after month 9. So you have costs up front. Let's look at this example for a second. Going back to here, 1350, 750 up advance up front. Subtract your cost per acquisition because you need to spend 250 up front to get that 750 advance. That's $500. So $500 is your profit up front because that's after your advance. But you receive another $600 after months 10, 11, and 12 and beyond. So 250 plus 350 is 600. So you net $500 up front, but you also net another $600 after month 9. So more than half of your profit comes after month 9, which is really important that a lot of people don't share. That is why this business is great. It's also the reason why a lot of folks fail is because they don't understand this. But if you do understand this, you don't realize actually how much money you're making. You're making a lot of money, even though your bank account might not show all of that money. And if you can understand conceptually that, holy crap, you're actually making a hell of a lot more money than you thought, because most of your profit is not in your bank account. It's in the form of receivables. Then you can afford to spend more to acquire customers. You can build up your book if you're patient, if you have the delayed gratification mindset. But I want to simulate what it looks like if you sell 20 policies a month here. So if you sell 20 policies a month, which is very doable, not hard, really not hard, sell 240 apps a year. Assuming the inputs to the model that we discussed, 168 of those will place, 126 will reach month 12, 42 will early lapse, but you'll still get on average $400 in commission out of those 42 that lapsed. So your expected lifetime revenue is $202,000. Your total cost per acquisition, $60K, that's your ad spend. And then your net lifetime profit is $142,000. Very basic numbers to understand here. Out of that 126,000 profit, 66 of that is going to be remaining, and you're going to get roughly, so your advance is going to be 126. You'll spend 60,000, and then 66 is the cash remaining. So that's the amount that will that you can net up front but meaningful profit continue. So you'll show this after 12 months, but meaningful amount of the profit continues after month 9. So great, you busted your ass, you made 66K, you worked all these hours, you hustled, um, but it doesn't seem like you're making that much money. But the reality is, most of that 60% of your profit, again, is coming after month 9. So again, you'll make 142K, but it'll only show 66K in the bank account in profit. So meaningful profit continues after month 9. So this is a flywheel. You have to think of it like a business. If you understand this, again, you'll be able to, and you'll be wanting to invest more upfront to sell more. It's a very common principle in marketing. The business that can spend the most to acquire a customer will win. If you understand this economics and you are willing to have at least some form of delayed gratification, you will want to invest more upfront and build out your flywheel, because you're just most people in the space, most agents in the space don't appreciate this, don't appreciate the back end, don't appreciate the economics and how scalable this actually is if you are willing to reinvest. So each month, new advances stack. Your first 9 months are going to be harder on cash flow than months 10, 11, and 12 and beyond, because at months 10, 11, and 12, your renewals will start stacking. And then beyond that, your second year renewals will start stacking. So your first 9 months will be the toughest 9 months in the business, period, end of story. And then renewals begin. And then you stop starting from zero. You have that recurring residual income. You will have consistent revenue after that time period. So discipline still matters. Higher placency improves cash flow. Your fundamentals, the way you sell policies, um, persistency, how you service policies will impact profitability, will impact these metrics that we discussed. But bad underwriting still hurts the model. Bad sales still hurt the model. Backend rewards patience and discipline. So I will push you to get to 20 to 50,000 or more a month in annual premium. You must enforce underwriting standards, accept short-term discomfort, reinvest intelligently, and if you want to scale, you will have to um, continually reinvest and grow the amount that you reinvest. Um, Once you recognize how much money you're actually making, hopefully you will want to continue to reinvest and think like a business owner. So that's it. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, like the video, and um, click. Should be a link around this video to watch an overview video so you can understand what it's like to work with me and my agencies. But um, hopefully you found this helpful, and this will motivate you to want to learn this model better, scale this, and um, understand this better than 99% of agents, because most agents who get started in this business simply do not understand the economics, and it is very powerful once you grasp these concepts. So thanks for listening.